What's up, people? It's your girl Adiola. Oh my god, it's been crazy, especially in America, where people have been protesting the killing of another black man by the police. People have been asking for justice for black people, and when I say black people, by the way, I mean every black person, whether you're an African American, whether you're an African, you're a black person. I mean, we all remember Amadou Diallo from Guinea, although he was born in Liberia, the man who was killed by 4 police officers in New York. They shot at him 41 times, claiming that he looked like a rapist, except that he was not a rapist. They also said that he had a gun, except he didn't have a gun, just his wallet. He was African. Also, remember Chinedu Okobi in California, who was tasered to death on the street in broad daylight by 5 police officers in 2018. They said that he looked dangerous by the way he was crossing the street, and they even said that he attacked one of them, but video camera shows otherwise. In the video, he was actually afraid of them. And of course, let's also remember Matthew Ajibade, who was killed in police custody in 2015 in Georgia. They basically beat him to death. He had mental illness, so he was on medication, but that very day he refused to take his medication. So because he was acting erratically, his girlfriend called 911, hoping that medics would show up and help him to take his medication, but police were the ones that showed up, and of course he wasn't cooperating because he needed his medication. But they took him to the police station. Instead of taking him to the hospital, they took him to the police station where they tortured him to death. I just gave those examples to say that racist people do not differentiate between African Americans and Africans. Nope, no they don't. By the way, none of these African guys got any justice, and that's just some of the African guys. Some of the officers were given paid leave, some of them were fired, but no justice, except one police officer who was jailed for 1 month. And you know, I'm not in any way saying that all policemen and women in America are racist. No, that's not what I'm saying. Or that all white people are racist. No, not at all. There are so many amazing officers out there who would give their lives for others, and there are so many white people out there who understand that the color of our skin means nothing, that we all have the same color of blood, red blood running through our veins. So at the same time, I'm also not saying that police brutality is limited to the US. It's even more rampant in Africa. Even during this lockdown, at least 18 people have been killed by security forces in Nigeria alone. So yes, it's even more rampant in Africa. But the protests and riots in the US had been building up for years because cops are never brought to justice when they kill black people. So when a police officer knelt on George Floyd in Minneapolis, suffocating him till he died, people decided they've had enough. And you know, I've seen a lot of comments from Africans about what's happening in America. Honestly, some Africans think that this is an attack on the Trump's administration. I'm telling you, social media is a very interesting place. When you read people's comments, it is very, very interesting. And you know, you get to learn a lot, you know. So I've been reporting a lot about the events in the US on my Facebook page, on my Instagram page, and on my Twitter page. So I wouldn't go in depth so that we can cover, you know, African stories. So the only thing that I would say though is protesters in the US are not just fighting for African Americans. They're fighting for all black people, for all black lives in America. Also, if you have family members in the US, check up on them, you know, even if it's once in a while, even if you haven't spoken to them in a while, you know, once in a while, it's good to check up on their welfare. Maybe some of you have never even asked your friends or families abroad if they experience racism and how they deal with it. I feel like some people only call their loved ones abroad when they need something. I'm not talking about anybody. I'm just saying that you should check up on their well-being at least once in a while. Of course, not everyone experiences racism in America, but I do know that a lot of Africans, especially when they're moving to another state in the US, the first thing they consider is, where can we go that we won't face too much of racism? So check up on your people, you know. A major lesson that I learned though when I moved to the US is how stupid it is that in some parts of Africa that we kill each other based on ethnicity. In so many countries like Hausas versus Igbos versus Yoruba. When I got to America, I realized that to the rest of the world, we're all categorized as black people. Nigerians, Ghanaians, Ugandans, we're all black people. Yet we're so divided. It makes no sense to focus on our differences or think that our ethnic group is superior to another ethnic group. Some people actually think that. Oh my God, it's so dumb. Black people in general, we need to learn to work together. We need to learn to love each other. We need to learn to unite. I feel like a lot of Africans don't know what African Americans have been through. I see a lot of people who speak out of ignorance. And of course, I've seen Africans who believe that African Americans are nothing but criminals. Please try to know about the history of African Americans. Black people in general, we need to learn to work together. We need to learn to love each other, and we need to learn to unite, because the world doesn't care about our differences. They see us as one, and racism towards us is one. At the same time, I was happy to see human rights organizations like Amnesty International condemn the US when the US president engaged the military instead of getting the remaining 3 police officers involved in the killing of that black man arrested. At the same time, I saw African leaders condemning human rights abuse in the US. I said, I beg, charity begins from home, I beg, because we experience more police brutality in Africa than in the US. So African leaders, please, it's okay to condemn America, but can you also fix your countries? Please just, fix your country, because the devil is a liar. Now, the remaining 3 officers were later charged. So all 4 officers have now been charged for killing that black man, George Floyd. I wish that the US government did that ASAP. There wouldn't have been any protests. I'll put a link in the description below, by the way. So many of your questions about being black in America and why people were protesting, why some people were looting. We all condemned the looting, but watching this video would answer some of your questions. It was made by a Nigerian brother from Texas, Emmanuel Acho. He was a former NFL player and now a presenter on ESPN. So please watch that video. So there's this picture of Trump holding a Bible that has circulated around the world, and a lot of people are so happy about this picture. They say that he's a Christian president. Other people are saying that there is nothing spiritual about a president that used tear gas, pepper spray, and police to drive away protesters in order for him to take a picture in front of a church. Some people are even posting pictures of Hitler, who was also holding the Bible. I said, Jesus, the devil is liar. And then, of course, pictures of Yahya Jammeh of the Gambia holding the Quran as he used to do, despite being corrupt. So let me know what you guys think about this photo of President Trump and what's happening in America in general. But not just that, a lot of Nigerians have been arguing that, Trump recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, so he's anointed, and to them he could do no wrong. I've even seen videos of Nigerian pastors saying that if Trump doesn't win in the upcoming election, that the whole world will be in trouble.
The Lord gave me a prophecy last year or so, or 2 years ago, that Trump will not be re-elected. And I was worried. He said it. I've been worried. We should pray and change it. Because if that happens, then the world is finished. If that happens, that the current president of America doesn't come back, the world is finished.
Wow. I mean, that's some major revelation right there. Thank you so much. Man of God, what a prophet. At the same time though, there are some people who are arguing that Trump recognizing Jerusalem happened because it was already prophesied that it would happen when it happened, that it has nothing to do with who's president when it happens, because all American presidents have always been pro-Israel. America is an ally of Israel, so it didn't matter who's president. But you guys know me, I can't get in this argument. Where do we even start? So and of course I really don't know anything anyway, so I would like to know what you guys think about this arguments, about what's happening in the US. People saying that it's a spiritual attack on Donald Trump, and also that Trump is anointed because he recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. So there's all kinds of debates going on, and I like to know what you guys think about this as well. This is going to be an interesting comment session today. I look forward to sitting down with my popcorn. And may I just say that you don't need to abuse anybody in order for you to make your point known, and you can be civil in your comment. You don't have to curse anyone out because you think that Trump is a Christian or because you believe that CNN is fake news. We can all agree to disagree, and that's how we can learn from each other. So please let me know what you guys think about what's happening in the US in the comment section. You guys not know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. Moving on to Nigeria, and speaking of police brutality, I'm sure that you guys saw the video of a 16-year-old girl, Tina Ezekwe, who was killed by the stray bullets of 2 police officers at a bus stop near her house. 2 people were hit by the stray bullets. The other person, 35-year-old Musa Yakubu, survived, but 2 days after she was shot, Tina died. And you guys know that that would have been swept under the carpet as usual, if not that we have a video and Nigerians cried out. The policemen were arrested, but we're still waiting to know whether they will be convicted or not. Too many people, way too many people have been killed by stray bullets in Nigeria. And they will always say that the officers would face internal disciplinary actions, and then we don't hear anything after that. You know, I also wish that our hospitals are better equipped. Maybe Tina would have survived. I mean, she fought for 2 days after she was shot before she died. Also, an 18-year-old girl, simply identified as Jennifer, was gang raped by 5 guys in Kaduna. They allegedly drugged this girl, they raped her, and then they called her friend to pick her up. So people know these guys, all 5 of them, but some of them, their parents apparently bribed the police, so there has been no justice for this lady. Meanwhile, the girl has not been normal since that rape took place. They took her to the hospital that day, they gave her 4 drips, but nothing has helped. She has not been acting normal. I saw her video and I wanted to cry. Wow, that's somebody's child. And then there's a 12-year-old girl who was raped by 11 men in Jigawa. People found out when one of these men, a 57-year-old man, was trying to take her to a secluded place in a market in order to rape her. And then when police were called, she named the other 10 men who had been raping her over a period of time. All 11 of them have been arrested. Also, as many of you already know, 22-year-old UNIBEN student Uwa Omozua was raped and murdered by 4 guys inside a Redeemed church where she went to study. Wow. I mean, it's bad enough that you rape someone. Do you need to kill her? And all this happened in a church in the house of God. I couldn't even look at the pictures. And it's not just women who are raped, by the way. Men are also raped. So needless to say, as a society, we do have a problem with rape, and especially the attitude of people towards rape victims, which is why so many people don't speak up, and then this continues to thrive. You know, I've seen many comments such as this: apologies to parents. Before I read it, if you're a child, you don't have to hear this. But someone named Wisdom Chidozi said, "My advice for girls is that if one person decides to rape you, give him sex. Don't allow him to force and wound you. If there are more than one, pardon with them so they can wait one after another. If they disagree, promise them changing of styles." Wow. And then I saw another comment. Once again, apologies to parents. This person said, "I'm not in support of rape, but people should stop making the name rape complicated. It's just like normal penetration, which on a normal circumstance, harm will not occur from such." Wow. Wow. Yes, we have a problem. And that's why I thought I should say just 2 things, you know, about this issue. When somebody is raped, it's not just about the physical event. The physical event can be very painful, but the psychological effect is even more devastating than the physical event. It can lead to serious anxiety that would last for years, depression, flashbacks, nightmares. Some people will just wake up in the middle of their sleep. It leads to stress disorder, sleep disorder. You find it hard to trust people of the opposite sex. Your self-esteem drops. You question your value. It affects your mental health. When some women get married later, they experience serious pains during sex, and in some cases, it may lead to committing suicide. In many cases, when someone is raped, especially as a child, and they're too young to understand what was done to them, it's not like they forget what happened, but they didn't understand what it was. They may repeat the same thing with other kids. They may even rape kids that are younger than them because somebody did it to them. You know, some people would even become sex addicts, and some people would just withdraw. You just see that they start withdrawing. And no, nobody enjoys being raped, like some people say. Unfortunately, instead of taking care of victims in different parts of Nigeria, like taking them to the hospital for checkup or taking them for therapy, for counseling, back home, some people will call the pastor. Actually, some people call the pastor for everything. And, you know, in fact, I once saw a Nigerian Christian movie where someone fainted. It's a medical condition. The person fainted and they called the pastor asking what to do. I'm not against pastors. As you guys know, I'm a PK. But going to seminary doesn't necessarily prepare someone to be a therapist or a counselor. The job of a spiritual leader is different from that of a therapist. It's good to go to the pastor for spiritual guidance, but it's also good to get professional help when you need it. That's the reason why people study counseling in school. There's a reason why people study psychology for years before they become therapists. It's not a stigma to seek for help. And in some cases, when a rape victim is taken to a pastor who preaches that a woman who is not a virgin is of no value, there's already a sense of guilt. Even though she's not at fault, she feels like she disappointed the pastor or brethren. She wants to know if God still loves her. She wants to know if people see her the way they used to before this happened. And that's why it's good to also seek professional help, where a victim would not be judged or blamed, someone that would tell them it's okay. It's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. Your life will still be great. Sometimes victims just need to talk and pour out their hearts to someone that would listen. So if you've been a victim, it's not too late to seek professional help. Some people never talked about what happened to them and it's affecting them. And if you ever wonder if God still loves you, oh my God, He loves you so dearly. And He can turn any situation around for your good. He definitely loves you. I may not be sure of anything, but God loves you. The second thing I want to say is we need to please stop blaming and shaming victims. Look at this comment. Kevin Namde says that simple truth is no school is open. Which exam is she reading for? To the extent of going to a church to read. Abi she defined chemical formula to cure coronavirus. Wow. I was like, wow. I mean, I've seen all kinds of comments. People blaming victims, especially the UNIBEN students. A lot of people saying, why was she studying at the church? Someone even wrote online that, oh, she had 9 books with her when she was killed. Was she going to read all 9 books? I'm like, wow. First of all, it's sad that when we're not directly affected by something, we tend to easily explain why it's not that bad or why the victim is at fault. But when we're directly affected, we want the whole world to care about our matter. Also, please know that most libraries in public schools, public universities in Nigeria are nothing to write home about. I mean, I wouldn't even call them libraries, and I'm speaking from experience. Sometimes they're usually crowded, which means that it can be loud sometimes in the library, and they don't always have electricity. Imagine going to study at night. We used to use rechargeable lamp at that time. And then, of course, a lot of people will go there just to shomo. You know what I mean? But you know, all that aside, nothing justifies rape. A woman's dressing does not in any way justify rape. And you know, I've seen some people say it's part of it. No, it is not part of it. Number 1, men also get raped. How come you don't say it's because of how they dress? Little boys get raped. Some of them even in religious boarding schools. We've also seen a lot of Almanjiris raped. What has that to do with their dressing? Also, please, let's not forget how women dressed before colonization. In fact, there are still some places in Africa today where they don't wear clothes and the men are not raping them. Our grandmothers would tie just wrapper and go and fetch water at the river. In Igbo culture, women would tie something around their breast and also wear a wrapper in those days. In Yoruba land, there was a time women wore uleku wrapper. It's short wrapper. Rape was not this rampant at that time. It was a taboo, actually. If men of those days were not behaving like animals, then it's not about women's dressing. Let's stop saying that it's part of it, because that empowers rapists. It empowers men who want to rape women. Also, I don't think that some men know that they can also be attractive to women. Some of you go without your shirts. Should a woman pin you down because you didn't have your shirt on? And how do you explain little kids who are raped? I mean, how seductive can a 2-year-old dress? Remember the girl that was reported in Lagos in 2018? She wasn't even 3 yet, and she was raped by a 47-year-old man. And we know that some people rape mad women, because we see a lot of mad women in Nigeria who are pregnant. How attractive do these mad women look? People get raped. Even in Muslim societies all over the world where women wear hijab, people that don't wear earrings, people that don't wear necklace, people who wear only turtleneck, they still get raped. So please, allow women to breathe. Let's stop blaming the victims. We need to raise our sons better, to respect women's boundaries. And we need to raise our daughters to also respect men's boundaries. Because if we can do that, more than half of this problem will be solved. Also, please don't help anyone rape anybody. You may just destroy a life. And don't keep quiet if you know someone that is doing this. And the next time before you comment, just imagine if that was your mom that was raped, or your girlfriend, or your sister, or your daughter, or somebody that you care about. We need more men to stand up and stop making excuses, stop blaming victims. Let's condemn this together. Lastly, if you have raped someone, please reach out to them. Seek their forgiveness, but let them know that you are also willing to comply with the law if they decide to report. Stop threatening people that you raped. Don't do that. Seek help, professional help, because you need it. You guys not know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. So, our inspirational story for today comes all the way from Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for this beautiful woman, 32-year-old Patricia Mawuli-Nyekozi, the first female civilian pilot in Ghana, as well as the first woman in West Africa to be certified to build and maintain Rotax engines.
Clear, prop. I'm a pilot, engineer, and I enjoy training other people to fly airplanes.
I mean, that is amazing. That's amazing. I've seen some people say, oh, those are smaller planes. I'm like, which one can you fly? Why do you have to be an enemy of progress? We are so proud of this lady. Keep in mind that Salesa Yara Agbenyefia is the first female military helicopter pilot in Ghana. So Patricia is the first civilian female pilot. Do you guys know that only 6% of the world's pilots are women? I'm like, 6%? Hey, well, the devil is a liar. Huge shout out to all the African female pilots. We are so proud of you guys. Patricia's story is very inspiring. She said that she grew up in a rural village in the Volta region of Ghana, and that growing up, she loved watching planes fly over her village. And so at the age of 19, she tried to get a job at the airfield where they were maintaining the planes, where they were fixing the planes and teaching people how to fly. But she said that she was turned down. They said they were not hiring women.
I worked out in the middle of nowhere, walked onto this airfield and asked for a job. And I was told ladies were not employed. And I told them, you know what, guys, I believe women can do things and even do them better than men do.
She was turned down by the technical director. His name is Jonathan Porter. So she offered to work for free. And since she wanted to do it for free, Jonathan hired her to weed around the school. And you know, she did this diligently, and she would even trim the trees. She skillfully performed her duties, so much so that Jonathan noticed this.
To get rid of me, they gave me a cutlass to go clear some of the bush. And I did that a lot better than most of the men do, and that surprised them. And you know what? That changed the whole perception about not employing women.
And then he started asking her to come and help him with assembling airplanes. When he's working on them, he would invite her to help her. And he was so impressed by her performance and how quickly she learned this and how well she did. And that was how she started. Soon after that, Jonathan gave her a paid job to work as his apprentice. And not only did he teach her how to fix planes, how to assemble planes, but he taught her how to fly planes. Father, Uncle Jono, now you are forgiven. So she got sponsored throughout her training as an engineer, as a pilot, and as a flight instructor. And you know the funny thing? They fell in love and got married. Oh yeah, you see what I'm saying? Jonathan and Patricia have been married for years now, and they have a very beautiful family. Jonathan should be glad that this woman did not go back home that day when he said no, that he wasn't going to hire her. He wouldn't have been married to a pilot today, Ben. So we're so happy for them. They've been married now for years and they have a beautiful family. So today, Patricia teaches at the Aviation and Technology Academy in Ghana, where she trains other young girls from rural parts of Ghana how to fly planes. Can you imagine? And Patricia is also a volunteer pilot and engineer for Medicine on the Move. That's a mobile healthcare company set up by Jonathan in 2006 following a family tragedy. So this company is the one responsible for taking health education into rural parts of Ghana. They're dropping medicines from the sky, dropping vaccines and publications into the communities. So this woman is changing lives literally, and of course she travels the world doing what she loves doing. I love what Jonathan said later. He said, if you invest in a girl, you invest in a community. Because today this woman is changing lives. I decided to talk about her because she started by working for free. Just for her to get what she wanted. She wanted to fly planes so bad that she was willing to pull out weed and work for free. She was willing to use cutlass to cut grass. Father, what are you willing to do for that thing that you want to do? Does that make sense? I don't know. But what sacrifice are you willing to make in order to be that person that you want to be? He told her to weed and she did not say, no, me, I can't do that too. Sometimes in life, you have to go back before you go forward. You just have to know what you want and be willing to pay the price. Sometimes you have to take chances, you have to take some risk. Don't do anything illegal, you know. But maybe there's someone out there today who aspires to learn a skill. How far are you willing to go to learn? Can you humble yourself to learn from someone who's from a different background or different ethnic group? Can you learn from someone that is younger than you if that person is well versed in what you want to learn? Can you learn from watching YouTube videos? Are you willing to shadow someone, working for them for free in order to learn? If she had gone back home that day because Jonathan didn't give her a job, she wouldn't be who she is today. She may be successful doing something else, but she wouldn't be the first female civilian pilot in Ghana. I'm like, for that, or the only female instructor teaching other girls how to fly. You see what I'm saying? So if you want to fly, my people, don't be afraid to start small. Don't be afraid to take some risk. Lastly, I went on the website of the International Society of Women Airline Pilots just to see if they have any scholarships, and I noticed that they do have a $5,000 scholarship for female pilots who are in training. So this is for them to get their CFI, their MEI certificate, and it will be paid directly to the school. So if you know of female pilots in training who is interested, let them know about this scholarship. And please don't send me an email. You can just go directly to their website. I don't know them. I don't know anything about it. Just go on their website if you're interested. You guys not do not much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. So in my last episode, I asked what you guys think about the new currency that France is introducing to West Africa, that is ECO. And I want to read some of your comments. Daniel Agos said, we should not blame French president. Africans don't want to be independent. Wow. Thank you, Daniel. Also, Aletha Hill said, the French need to be run out of Africa, period. Oh my God. Okay, that's a very direct. Let me know what you guys think about that. Also, Sweethin Guchim said that this is a correction, that the ECO, that's the new currency, entails that no part of the foreign reserve will be held in France. Wow. I really appreciate when you guys comment, and I look forward to reading your comments about this episode as well. Thank you so much for saying that. Don't forget to subscribe, by the way, if you're yet to subscribe. Thanks to everybody that has subscribed. Also, don't forget to download SendWave if you're living in the US, UK, Spain, Italy, or Ireland. Binance is the fastest way of sending money to Nigeria, Ghana, Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda without paying any transaction fees. Alright, y'all, it's been real, and I'm keeping it right up in here. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Until next time, I will see you all later. Peace out.